Welcome to the DoubleACS Daily News for December 31st, 2015. A prominent and historic factory building on the east side of Attleboro will soon be demolished. The Swank Building, which was owned by the Attleboro Redevelopment Authority, will be undergoing the demolition process for the next several months.
It was way back around 2009 that I learned about the Swank Building, and it was something that was left over from the previous board, and we needed to abate that building and get that to a point where it was clean enough that we could turn around and turn the building over to Leach & Gardner, Stern Leach. And they were going to accept it, and that was it. We got halfway through the abatement problems, and our licensed site professional, ES&M from Norton, discovered that the state and federal government came in and changed the parameters. They changed the parameters from just a simple wide gap to a very narrow gap, which led us to believe that it was nearly going to be impossible to meet those new guidelines. And subsequently, everybody agreed that it was going to be impossible to meet those guidelines. So we ended up having the only viable option for us to be able to get that building where we needed to was to tear it down. Stern Leach wasn't going to accept the building until we had it into an area where it was good for them. So we ended up getting a grant for $1.5 million, and our bids came in pretty favorable. And so here we are now taking the building down. And they have, I think, 120 days, 60 days to abate the building, where they'll be under real strict guidelines to make sure that they get rid of anything that's hazardous in there and make sure that the building is taken down correctly. And after that 60 days, they got another 60 days to demo the building and get it to the ground. So the contract is for 120 days, and that began on December 23rd.
They are deconstructing the building. They're going to start at the top and start tearing it down floor by floor by floor. So they're literally going to take it apart. Just to knock it down would be the fastest, easiest way, but it also is not the smartest way. So they're going to deconstruct the building. And there was an agreement with Stearns and Leach, or Stearns and Foster, Stearns and Leach. It's had a number of different names over the course of time. Worked out with them that once it was properly cleaned up to the point where they could utilize the building, then they would take possession of it. And so it's been since the early 2000s that this has been in process. And ARA finally, a year and a half, when ES&M told us about the parameters having changed and everything, about there was going to be no way to clean the building up, they obviously did not want it for that purpose. They couldn't do it, and they didn't want to be able to go in there. They were not able to financially or any other way go in there and demo the building themselves. So it was still in ARA. ARA had the title. They had never given the title to anybody else, so it became our problem to figure out how to get the building demoed.
I think one of the main concerns is trichloroethylene, which has been used in the gold industry for the longest time to clean gold and so forth. So I think that's one of the largest problems that we were dealing with. I think it's called TCE, trichloroethylene. Without having our site licensed professional here with us, I certainly don't want to go speculating on what else is in there because I don't want to raise anybody's concerns, but the trichloroethylene is certainly one of the biggest ones, and we can handle that quite easily.
There's also the standard contaminants that you're going to run into in any kind of older building. You've got your asbestos, the mercury in the ballasts of the light switches, things like that, all of which have to be taken care of.
When we get to the final demolition of the building and we get it down and we give them a permanent solution, they can make a parking lot if they'd like to, and that requires just capping it. They can put a building on it if they'd like to. They would have to do what they call a vapor intrusion barrier. And it's just an extra layer of protection because we spent so much time digging in the ground and cleaning it up that it's called a vapor intrusion barrier. And if they do that, they're able to build a building on it.
That's it for today's update. For DoubleACS News, I'm David Angel.